finally put up my posters from AAC, so we have a new setup, new weeaboo garbage setup. Hey Manic fam, it's been a super long while since we had one of these like personal chats instead of like a con vlog, but here I am. We're doing this again. But yeah, I have been like super busy. School has been crazy, work has been crazy, life in general has been crazy, but I'm finally getting back into the swing of filming, and I have some super cool stuff planned for the upcoming months, so I hope that you guys can look forward to that. But right now, we're finally gonna finish the last of the first 5 initial Practical Cosplay videos, and I am super excited to be done with the first 5 so I can move into topics of your choice. So right now we are going into storage and caring for your cosplay. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. First and most helpful thing that you can do to make storing and caring for your costumes easier is to plan your storage while you're making the costume instead of trying to figure that out after it's been made. So if you're making, for example, crazy armor, maybe think about some bins to put it in, or if you have this gorgeous silk gown, maybe find a place to hang it. But Mad Dog, how do I know what will be the best storage solution for me and my costumes? Well, I'm here to tell you today some different types of ways to store your costumes. Essentially, my organization system is arranged in tiers of least fragile, or like least meaningful to most fragile and most meaningful, and I find this to work the best for me. But if that's not the way you work, keep that in mind when listening to this and come up with your own method based on these solutions that I've put together. So, tier number 1 is to use your actual wardrobe. For a lot of my early costumes, I used this because I didn't have many costumes stacking up. I only had like 1 or 2. And I found this to work really well when I first started cosplay because I had costumes made out of found clothing or like really simple fabrics, like just broadcloth. I found it easy to just pack and store them with all the rest of my clothing, like in my wardrobe or closet or whatever. And because I use a mix of all of the tiers that I'm going to mention in this video, I'll give you an example of an outfit like this. I use this method to store my Johnny shirt and my Johnny pants and all my Johnny accessories. I just throw it in with my wardrobe and my jewelry and all that good stuff. Moving on to storage tier number 2, i.e. Ziploc bags. Specifically the freezer size Ziploc bags. I use this again for things that are very simple, things that are not fragile at all. I will use this for slightly more complicated than broadcloth costumes like my Sarah's Victoria cosplay. I shove all of that into a Ziploc bag. I use this for unstyled wigs that I can reuse for a ton of different characters. And I also use this for sports uniforms and pee-goose too. I recommend this tier for things that are a little bit more complicated than just like a found t-shirt. If you just want to keep all the pieces in order. And the great thing about the Ziploc bags is you can either put them in a bulk storage bin or you can throw them in your actual wardrobe if you have space. It just keeps it separated from your actual clothing, which I think is pretty helpful. So yeah. And tier number 3 is instead of using bulk storage bins with like the Ziploc bag method, is to actually use separate storage bins for individual cosplays. So these are essentially for things that are like slightly more complicated and maybe have props or specific hairstyles. So I use storage bins for things like armor and heavily styled wigs, except for the ones that go on my shelf, which you've seen in some of my previous videos. And an example of me using a separate storage bin instead of throwing a costume in the bulk storage bin is I'm storing all of my Genos armor in its own bin so that none of it gets scraped and damaged or it like melts next to a heater or something because it's Worbla. And tier number 4 is to use separate garment bags for each of your costumes. This is for stuff that's crazy detailed. For example, fabric that you're afraid to fold because you're afraid it's gonna like ruin the fabric forever, so you need it to hang. I know one of the first garment bags I ever got for a costume was for my Elsa costume because all of the crazy beading and sequining on that was just too wild to try and fold, or else it would have like broken sequins and that would have been a mess. Nowadays I use it for things like my Yona costume because that's great. I can throw every single piece of that, including my bow, into the garment bag, and it's really helpful. And just a little tip here, if you have complicated costumes, it's always great to make accessory pouches or get garment bags with accessory pouches so that you can put all of the accessories in with the costume instead of like throwing it in a separate part of your room and then potentially forgetting it in your room when you go to a con. But yeah, accessory pouches are really helpful, and you can make them out of this super fun fabric that you see at Joann's but never know what to use for, i.e. the Zelda fabric. I really love the Zelda fabric. And one last quick tip about the garment bags is to put your cosplay specific repair kit in the garment bag as well, so that you can find it and use it next time you rewear that costume. And if you do not know what a cosplay specific repair kit is or how to make one, I will actually be doing a video about that in the future, so stay tuned and you will learn and be able to put that in your garment bag. Yeah, so if that is made by the time you're watching this video, there should be a card somewhere that points you in the direction of that video. And lastly, tier 5, even though it's not really a tier at all. But yeah, tier 5 is to mix and match all of these tiers, which is what I do. And tier 5 may or may not include buying your own clothing rack for your garment bags because you're crazy and all you do is cosplay like me. But no matter where you are on your cosplay journey, whether you're making beautiful, amazing ball gowns every other day, or you're just going to a thrift store and making costumes out of found clothing, all of these tiers could be helpful for you, so feel free to mix and match any of them when finding your own storage solutions. And if you're limited on space, you can always use these different tiers for different pieces of your costume too. For example, I store my Miwako dress in a garment bag, but I store the wig on the shelf, like you see in some of my other videos, which can also be stored in a storage bin. Obviously, I just like to display that one because it makes me happy. The only thing I recommend is if you do that, if you spread your costumes over a variety of storage tiers, is to put a list of all the pieces of your costume in with the main part of your costume. So with my Miwako dress, I have just a checklist that has the dress, the wig, the tights, the shoes, the crazy eyelashes, all with the dress because I know I won't forget the dress, and that way I can find all the other pieces of my costume based on that checklist. And the absolute last thing I have to say on storage and caring for your costume has more to do with the caring aspect of your costume. And that would be to always repair your costumes when they get broken, instead of letting them sit and then taking them out the day before you have to rewear them and going, oh my god, this has a giant hole in it, crap. Although I cannot give you the exact method you can use to repair every single one of your costumes, it's always better to repair them immediately instead of forgetting. So for example, I flubbed up a little bit on my Lance jacket, so I'm in the process of repairing that right now so that the next time I wear it, I don't have to worry about that. It'll just be all set and ready to go. And I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed the last of my initial 5 practical cosplay videos. I certainly had a lot of fun making them, and I hope that you found some things useful in at least like one of the videos, you know? If you have any future practical cosplay topics you'd like to suggest because you need help with them or whatever, feel free to leave us any suggestions in the comments section or send me a message on like Tumblr or other social media or whatever. I take everything into consideration for my YouTube channel, TBH. And yeah, I guess if you liked this video, give it a good old thumbs up. Subscribe for more if you want to see more practical cosplay and con vlogs and work vlogs and crazy nerdy thing vlogs. And I guess that's about it for now. I will see you on the con floor.